you give me fire, give me double shot it down.
The more you know. Like we said, Davey kind of said it, right? That it's not necessarily not represented, but I also think it's not represented. The fact that we never get to talk about Truck Series, O'Reilly Series, get into it. There's a lot of money spent. There's a lot of good drivers over there, a lot of good crew chief talent. Even though we got some good talent on the broadcast, with whether it's Dillon or Chris or Parker, or the list goes on. And so I just felt like it was important for us to talk about it. We're about to go into the chase. And if no one else is going to talk about, by golly, boys, it might as well be us. So let's do it. I'm excited. You know, I haven't worked with Chris before. I only watch him on TV. So we're going to see if, you know, he's as good as he looks like on TV.
Wow. Well, I only do limited TV races, so clearly this isn't working yet. So
face for radio, is that what we're supposed to say?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Got the face for radio. No, it's been a fun season, but yeah, no, this is really cool. I fortunate enough, like on the MRN side, we get to do a little bit of everything. And, you know, to your point, like I think there's so many great stories that kind of just get swept under the rug a little bit sometimes, especially on the Truck Series side. I'd love to see that series built up a little bit. I mean, obviously, there's so much going on in the world of the sport, whether you're talking Cup, O'Reilly, or Truck Series. So this was a great idea, Mamba. Appreciate the invite.
And then we got Dillon Welch is back because, you know, last time we did stuff like this, Dillon was like a mainstay. He was just honestly, he was a pot stirrer. He just talked a lot of shit. I'm not going to lie. It was great.
I don't really remember that. What shit did I talk?
I don't know. You're just being honest. It wasn't really shit talking. But and then, of course, ladies and gentlemen, Davey Segal is here to keep us on the rails. You know, that's really what his job is here to do. Because last time we did this, I was like 3 beers in every show before we got halfway. So
truly, literally, you were.
There you go.
Yes, in more ways than one. Dillon, I feel like you've been off so long. You probably took a nice vacation. You don't look as tan as I would expect you to be with the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series being off for multiple weeks in a row.
Well, I'll choose to not take that as an insult because I did sit at my pool yesterday. It was literally 75 and sunny in Indy, like maybe the most beautiful day of the whole year. So I did get some time by the pool, but yeah, it's been weird, you know, because like, and I haven't been at the track since Indianapolis at the end of July because I did Iowa from the studio in Charlotte. So, you know, combined with us having the 2 weeks off just with the O'Reilly schedule anyways, I'm excited to get back to Daytona. Obviously, it's a big weekend for everybody, but, you know, especially the O'Reilly Series with it being the last race before the chase starts. So can't wait to get down there.
Yeah. Chris, it's a very interesting O'Reilly Auto Parts Series playoff grid, chase grid, dollar on the swear jar already, right now at least. You got Parker Retzlaff in ninth. He's 46 points to the good. Sam Mayer is 19 to the good. And then you have a Joe Gibbs Racing trio right on the cut line. It is going to be a fierce battle. William Sawalich is 11th right now. He's 1 point to the good, tied with his teammate Brent Cruz, who we'll get to in a little bit. But the fact that he missed some races at the start and is still at this point is really impressive. And then Taylor Gray is 1 point below the cut line. And then our man Rajat Karuth is 15 points below. So it's kind of like a 4 to 5 man race for those final 2 to 3 spots with Daytona looming this weekend. Chris, it is shaping up to be a barn burner and a doozy and any adjective you want to throw in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I mean, what better place than have it shake out at a place like Daytona where, you know, anything can happen. But this has been a really fun season, I think, for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. I know Dillon can attest to this as well, being full season with the CW. But like you mentioned, having like 4 or 5 racers contend to it. I know in the Truck Series, it was a little bit more almost laid out the roadmap for the chase, a little bit going into New Hampshire. But I mean, it's really anybody's game. And I think, you know, Parker Retzlaff certainly, I think, has been kind of that story that I feel like every week we sound like a broken record being like, look at Viking Motorsports, man, they're so impressive, they're so fast. And he's really good at Daytona. I mean, remember, he almost won a Cup race a couple of years ago when he made a one-off start. But I love the kind of mixture of talent. You know, you talk about the Joe Gibbs Racing teammates having to duke it out. I know there's probably a lot of tension this week. I can't imagine what competition meetings are like. Obviously, you want to work together, but only one of you, potentially, maybe two, probably 2 of you will be able to get in. And then you've got a guy like Sam Mayer, who we know just I mean, he's all gas, no brakes. So, like, I'm excited to see just how this plays out. I think we're going to see that cut line continue to move throughout the race, and it's going to come down kind of to the last run of the checker flag. So it's be kind of fun to watch.
I think it's interesting. Chris just kind of said it, like talking about the teammates. Like in O'Reilly's, I don't really think they're as much. Hang on, let me back up. JRM, I feel like they're like true teammate, more traditional teammates. Like I think they work as teammates on a more bigger scale. When it comes to Gibbs, though, I don't think that they operate as much like that. Like they come from the same team, but like at this level, you know what I mean? Like everyone's trying to make their way. It's really hard to think like team racing when you're probably paying the money to be at this team and like you're trying to move up, and like there's only so many good cars or cars available at all at the Cup Series at the next level. So you're helping somebody might be at the detriment to your career, even if they're out of the same building. So I always find that interesting. And then, you know, we're talking about Daytona where you can't do it without help. So it's like, man, how much help can you really expect from someone who's literally trying to bump you out of the chase right now? I think it's going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting, Dillon, and I'm curious how you guys are going to cover it this weekend, because the 1 point gap between Sawalich, Cruz, and Gray, I mean, it's 1 point. Call it a tie, basically. So it's not like strategically anybody can race defensively or offensively. You just got to essentially start from square one and figure out where the chips fall when the checkered flag flies. But before you get to the checkered flag, you'll have the green and white checkered flag, and stage points, I feel like, are probably going to play a big factor this weekend.
Yeah, I'm super interested to just see how it unfolds. You know, and I'm curious too. You know, Raja is only 15 out and has run really well on the drafting tracks. Like Atlanta has been his best races of the year both times, and that's different than Daytona and Talladega. But he ran well at Daytona at the start of the year. And the thing is like, because those Gibbs cars are so close in points, it's like if one or two of them have a problem, that puts Raja right in the mix. So I think it's the balance of just making sure that those Gibbs cars get to the finish is going to be critical, but they also can't, like, they have to finish well. They can't just like ride around and finish and run 20th, because like if Raja goes up there and wins, it could upset the whole thing. So I think it has to be a really kind of high stress situation for all three of those guys, because they're not going to just coast in. You know, like they got to go out there and they got to put together you know, a really good race, all three of them. And like you guys said, you know, you may help each other a little bit at the start, but at the end of the day, you're not going to do something that jeopardizes your own opportunity to go for a championship. So, you know, coach might be a little nervous that his guys, you know, are going to get into each other, because at the end of the day, you know, they're going to be fighting for their own lives, so to speak. So I think it's just going to be super compelling, and I'm excited to cover that part of it.
And to your point,
Davey,
oh, go ahead, Mamba.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, to your point, and I think you kind of explained it well, Dillon, just the fact that, like, the Gibbs guys, yes, they're all down there, but none of them are safe. You know, JRM, like, if you're Justin, if you're, you know, Carson, heck, Sammy, I mean, even if you look at Corey Day, who's already in as well, like, they've got nothing to lose. They can just gang up and team up with Raja to help them the entire race. Like, they don't have to worry about, oh, at this point of the race, I got to, you know, separate myself from being nice, and I got to focus on me. I mean, I'm sure everybody's going to want to win the race. But also at the same point, I mean, how many times have we seen at super speedway races, JRM guys don't really behave that well when they try to help each other out. We've seen them take each other out a couple of times. So you kind of wonder what that dynamic's like too. But yeah, so you've got these, you know, teammates at JGR that are not in. They're going to have to race for their lives, but also try not to take each other out. But then you've got JRM that's, you know, all of them except one are in. So we got to do what we can to get Raja in.
Davey, who are you just talking to back there?
I'll say, we're talking about Raja in the 88. This car won this race last year, and with our pal Parker Kligerman in it, filling in for Connor Zilic with that whole situation. I mean, let's not lose sight of the fact that, yes, Raja has been fast on the super speedway drafting style tracks this year. But this car has experience in victory lane at this track. And I know you can kind of paint whatever narrative that you want to and put certain stats or facts in there to fit it. But there's something to be said for that as well, for this team, this organization, and Raja, knowing that this car is capable of winning not just races on super speedways, but this specific one. I feel like, Dillon, that's something that needs to be considered as well.
Well, and he's got great momentum, finished second at Iowa the last race, which, obviously, like we said, we've had a couple weeks off, but, I feel like he's starting to kind of get it, and he's starting to, put full races together. And that was, I think, evidenced, by his run at Iowa. It was the best run of his career. So, I think if you're gonna peak or you're gonna kind of get hot, this is the time you want to do it, of course. And like you said, he's got, Josh Williams is his spotter who spotted for Parker last year, and Connor Zilic, and is a great super speedway spotter. Worked with Ryan Blaney for a long time. Now he's with SVG, I think, on the Cup side. So great spotter. You guys know how important that is, on those type of racetracks. So, and Marty, Marty will have him a great race car. Marty Lindley is as confident as anybody in that garage. So they'll be tough. Yeah, they'll be tough. So there's no doubt about that.
What's the pressure like, Dillon, do you think? Obviously, I got to join you guys at Iowa, but kind of took more of a snapshot view. But throughout the season, we talked about Carson Kvapil needing to win for his job. How much is the pressure for Raja to make the chase for his future?
Yeah, I think it's very,
especially in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
Yeah, I think it's very real. There's obviously nothing is guaranteed in this sport ever, but I think it would go a long way for Raj, if he's able to, to obviously win a race at some point, which he's getting closer, as we just said, but yeah, to make the chase and to have a shot at the championship and to do it the way he's done it, in different, two different cars this year, like that is, we've talked about it a lot, and talked about it with Carson, but like, I can't overstate, I think, the challenge of doing that, especially as a young guy who's still just trying to kind of get his feet underneath him at the national level of racing stock cars. To have to do it with two different cars and two different teams, and Jordan Anderson Racing is an RCR affiliate. So like, there's just so many things that I think make it difficult. And what he and Carson have both done this year to just balance all of that and all the different people and personnel, I think is remarkable. So, and it'd be great for the sport. Like Raja, I think, is one of the most popular guys in our garage. Like everybody loves him. Like we love him on the TV side. It'd be great to have him in the chase. So, it'll be fun to watch for sure. But I'm sure he is feeling that pressure on many levels.
Yeah, understandably so. And I love him too because he's a DC guy. We like all the same sports teams. He always comes out to DC and shows love. So we don't root for drivers, but we root for stories. And I think the Rajah Caruso would be a good one this weekend. Mamba, I'm curious to get your perspective.
I definitely root for drivers. There's guys I don't root for. I'm not even gonna bullshit you on that. There's some guys I'm like, please, not this one.
Hey,
so I got a funny story. All right, speaking of making it work, RCR Mamba, it's a very interesting dichotomy that they have this year because on the Cup side, obviously dealing with the loss of Kyle Busch, that has understandably so taking precedent, and it's kind of permeating throughout the organization because it was such an unimaginable loss. But this week specifically, you got Austin Hill announcing that he's going to be full-time in the Cup Series next year in the 33, going back to a track where he is dominant. He is the man to beat. He won at Daytona earlier this year. It seems like anytime we're on a super speedway, he's one of the guys to beat. Jesse Love has also won his fair share of super speedway drafting style races. But something is telling me for this year in general, Mamba, that they are just not where they have used to be. Or they're not where they have been used to being, if that makes sense, right? Like Austin and Jesse, they're not running up front with as much regularity as I'm used to. Do you see it that way? And how do you expect them to perform in the chase, especially with Daytona coming up this week to potentially springboard them into it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you got to look at it, right? So JRM has 5 cars, right? And one car is always a Cup guy, and half of this year, the 88 has been a Cup guy as well. And then JGR has 4, and then Haas has 2 in-house, but then they have the 51 and the 39 and the 38 And I don't know whoever else they help out on the side that comes through that shop, right? So now all of a sudden the O'Reilly field is really, really stacked. And so, not that RCR isn't a top echelon team, it's just harder to get really good finishes because you have really good cars. You have better cars in there. So you got to be really on your stuff. And they've just been off a little bit. Jesse Love is our reigning champ. You know what I mean? Got to give respect to what that 2 group has done in the past and what they probably can go off and make a run to do this time. But you're not going to win, 1 or 2 races and win the championship. You know what I mean? That we got the new point system, so you got to be locked in for the entire run. But the 21 hasn't been as strong. They just haven't been as strong. They've been like, where last year, I feel like they were, I don't know, you guys might correct me, but I feel like they were like 4th to like 6th, 7th. A lot, like really, really slow for them. So, to be honest, so I expect them to be strong here. The Viking cars, they're out of their side of the group, right? They get help from RCR, and so you look at them and you look at Jordan Anderson's group. They really only need to help Parker. Like I think as a full program of RCR O'Reilly series, they probably really want to make sure Parker makes it in. For everybody, because it makes everyone look better. It shows that the equipment that they're producing, everyone is kind of in the same direction. So that's going to be really important. And, you got Alfredo, who's a great teammate, knows what he's doing. I feel like he's a vet at this point. There's a reason he got called up to drive the 48, even if it was for 1 race, but there's a reason for that. So RCR down a little bit, but if you look at their side projects have been pretty strong.
Yeah, I think you can look at it too. I think there's some external factors that happen as well. Like if you started with the Austin Hill situation, the gravity of him having to take over the seat for the late Kyle Busch. And he's been honest a few times that I've had a chance to talk to him kind of more in depth. And he's like, people don't realize how hard it is. Yes, we have cup drivers that'll do one-offs in the O'Reilly series, but to consistently do double duty every week, he's like, the amount of prep that goes in just distracts you from what your real full-time gig is. You go to practice your O'Reilly car, you got to switch your brain off of what the cup car just did, and you've got to almost like take an extra 10 minutes to get yourself, your feet back acclimated to what you're doing. And I honestly don't know if it's necessarily a distraction. I just think it takes a toll on what he's been able to do is his normal day-to-day weekly prep. So I'd be curious if that maybe has an impact a little bit. And then like Jesse Love, obviously he knows where he's doing next year in the Cup Series with the Wood Brothers. And then all of a sudden after that announcement came out, they've had the loose lug nut deal at Indy. They had the issue at Iowa that put them behind the 8 ball. They've kind of been bleeding points a little bit. And almost that, I wonder if Jesse's kind of almost looked a little farther ahead and they need to just kind of get back to what they're doing because he and Danny are so good together. They call each other brother. They've got a really tight relationship, but it's almost like, man, has some of those distractions kind of maybe affected them a little bit in a negative way. So, but if you're going to turn things around, why not do it at a place you've been so good at Daytona? So I think this will be a good weekend to see, okay, did you figure out your stuff because you've had 1-2 weeks off and now you come to a place you should be really good at? If you don't, I'd be a little concerned going into the chase.
Yeah, and I think Chris is exactly right. I think for Austin, I think that has been a lot on his plate just to balance running both series. And the other thing too, about them on the drafting tracks, they've been upfront with us about this. Like they do not have the advantage on those places that they had from a motor standpoint this year, like they did the last couple of years. Like the Hendrick engines, which is all the JRM cars, the Haas cars, have just put in work in the off season and are making a lot of power. And the Childress guys are look, we had great motors and we still have great motors, but we need to get to work to be better. And I think that's why you see them not able to be up front all day at these drafting racetracks and control the field because they're just not fast enough. So that's a work in progress. And I think that probably affects them at other places too, besides just the drafting tracks. But it's gotten their attention. And, I think that they know, they do know that there's work to be done, and they are actively trying to get better every weekend. I talked to him about that, and there's things that they're trying to improve and get better at. So I don't think that's saying the quiet part out loud. I think that's common knowledge. So, but that's just one of the factors that, that's kind of impacted them this year.
Let's transition to the Craftsman Truck Series, because they got their chase field together at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Layne Riggs clinched the #1 seed with that win over the weekend. Caden Honeycutt, the 2nd seed. Then he got Chandler Smith, Christian Eckes, Gio Ruggiero, Ty Majeski, Grant Enfinger, Daniel Hemrick, Ben Rhodes, and the last driver in was Tyler Ankrum over Stuart Friesen. I felt kind of bad for Stu the Shoe because he had a really good run on Friday, I guess it was. No, Saturday. Saturday at New Hampshire. And Halmar Friesen Racing brought not 1, not 2, but 3 trucks to the racetrack with Christopher Bell and Mike Christopher Jr. Mamba, I thought Stu the Shoe was going to get a hometown win for a minute there, and unfortunately just too much of a deficit to make up, so he's out of the chase this year.
Yeah, which sucks for that group. I mean, it seems like C-Bell is invested personally. I'm not saying financially, but personally into this group. He's done a handful of races, which he normally doesn't really do. And he's gone on record being like he just really likes Stuart and those guys over there and like what they're doing and what they're about. Stuart, obviously, I think he won in the big block modified. I think he won his championship up north, so shout out to him for that. At least they have some success in somewhere throughout their year. But if you look at their stats, I mean, he had 2 top 5s and 7 top 10s. Like, Ankrum had 1 top 5 and 5 top 10s. So, like, when you get that far down, it's just kind of a survival at that point. And so whoever kind of had made the least amount of mistakes or had the least amount of bad luck is going to kind of make it in, I feel like, when it comes to the Truck Series. But I really was looking at the points and who I'm most kind of surprised by. I haven't heard high wind of Ben Rhodes all year, and he's in there.
Yes.
Like he has 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s, not blowaway stats by no means, but like he's in the chase, and he's one of those guys that if you give him a shot, he's going to make some things happen.
Yeah, and I've been observing the trucks very much from like a 30,000 foot view this year, but it's been so impressive how much even the top 3, like if you can kind of group Chandler Smith, I think, into that group just at Front Row Motorsports, like how much they truly have separated themselves from everybody else. And I think you're right, Mamba. It's like you get to a certain point where you're just kind of trying for base hits, because the top 2 and top 3 guys are just so good that you've got to have a really, really good day to go up there and kind of knock those guys off their pedestal. Not saying it can't be done. It has been done, by some guys this year, but those top 3 are really, really fast every single weekend. So sometimes it is just about survival, and making the chase is big for those guys. Making the chase is big for Ankrum, and even though ThorSport, I think, as a group is down for Rhodes to put together a good enough year to be in the chase and have a shot. You never know how things can turn out, but you gotta be in the chase to have a shot at it, obviously. So they've done their job.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point about ThorSport and just some of these teams and drivers that were like, where are you in 2026? Ty Majeski used to be a guy that, the last couple of years, obviously he's a former champion in the series, but every year he's in what was the Champ 4, in Phoenix, and was out there racing for playoff wins, and it's like, he's winless for 2 years. I think his win in 2024 at Phoenix was the last time we've ever seen ThorSport in victory lane. So it's been kind of a weird season for them. To Dillon's point, I think just the top 3 are just so good this year that unlike the O'Reilly series where the parity in the top 15 or top 20 is so close because of all the alliances, you have this kind of almost dominating 2 teams between Tricon and Front Row, and everybody else is having to play catch up. But like Ben Rhodes is down there, you talked about it. Tyler Ankrum's story, that is, talk about a team that's thrown everything at it. As covering it for MRN the last few races leading into the last race for the chase, going into the chase, like they changed their entire crew. Like everybody except I believe crew chief Mark Hillman has been moved around or brought over from either the 91 or the 19. They've changed spotters. Like they're literally throwing the kitchen sink at it to try to be better. And then they walk away with like a 25th or 30th place finish and they somehow get in. So it's like, there's a lot going on to that to that point of surviving and kind of scratching your way through. I'd just be curious to see if anybody can find some sort of momentum to challenge what Layne and Caden and Chandler are doing this year. I think it's going to be hard, but I think with this playoff format now, you go on a run. We've seen Grant Enfinger do well and get himself in position to a championship. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody throws their hat in there, but as of now, it's like it's a 3-horse race to the finish.
Yeah, I agree. And I was looking at the standings too. So you got the top 5, which are kind of the younger guys: Layne, Caden, Chandler, Christian Eckes, and Gio Ruggiero. And then the next 5 are kind of the savvy vets: Majeski, Enfinger, Hemrick, Rhodes, Ankrum. I mean, 2 of those are champions. Hemrick's an O'Reilly Series champion. Ankrum, even though he's a younger guy, he's been in trucks for close to a decade at this point, which is kind of crazy. So there's a big dichotomy there, Mamba, of the old guard and the new guard. And it seems like, in terms of points, the new guard has the advantage in the edge right now.
Yeah, I mean, Layne Riggs, he's come a long way from throwing his shoulder out on top of his truck in victory lane, right?
I still associate that with him to this day. Even though he's so kicking everybody's ass this year, that's what I think of.
We'll never forget that. I think Layne Riggs is an interesting one. I think he was a national, isn't he a NASCAR or National Series champ with his late model? And then did he win a Car Store championship too? Or did he just come up short? I think he came up short. Yeah. But he's a Car Store winner, right? Yeah. Regardless, top echelon of late model. Yeah, top echelon of late model racing. And when he made the jump up, he really struggled on the 1.5 miles. I mean, it was pretty apparent. Like, it was like, ooh, like almost to the fact where it was like, is he going to have enough time? Because you never know how much time these guys are going to get when they're not bringing the money for the ride. It's just really hard to tell what they're going to get for leeway. And he was able to figure it out towards the back half of his first year. And now this year, man, it's just been like road courses, short tracks, 1.5 miles. Like, he's a well-rounded driver in the Truck Series, going toe-to-toe with the Corey Himes and the Carson Holsevars when they're in the field. I mean, kid's got 6 wins, I think. It just seems like it's his to lose. But Caden Honeycutt, I mean, he's an aggressor, man. He don't like losing either. So they seem like they were a little off this week. And then, Spire, the way that they run their program, you never know who's in their trucks. And they're always kind of in the mix. Like, you never know who's going to be in that thing next. So it's always a good driver, though. So the young guys are getting it done. I think Layne definitely should be by far the favorite. But he's probably thanking Corey Heim, because Corey was thinking about it. It seemed like he was thinking about coming back after he was a couple races behind, but he was like close to the top 10 in points. And he's probably thanking Corey for not coming full-time back.
Question for all you guys. I'll start with you, Dillon. Out of the top 2 guys, or the top 1 person, but 2 overall in each series, Allgaier absolutely whooped the field in the quote-unquote regular season. Layne Riggs, even though he only clinched the top seed during the race, the final race of the regular season, he still kind of whooped up on everybody. Allgaier or Riggs, who has a better shot at winning this championship this year?
Good question.
It is a good question.
Thank you.
Man, I don't know. I feel like Allgaier's strength is the season-long consistency. Like, I feel like he'd have won 3 or 4 championships by now if we were in the current format, just because they're just...
You might have won this one by now.
Yeah, because he's never been a guy that is I'm just going to have these flashes of being able to reel off race wins, but he's going to top 5 you to death, he's done that this year. So I do think that he, is maybe the best car in the O'Reilly series over the course of 10 weeks or 9 weeks. On that side of things, I think he has the ability to be the most consistent. I think Layne does too, but I think Layne maybe is a guy that is going to be able to reel off more wins, and maybe that's what it comes down to. So I don't know. I mean, that really is a tough question. I think either answer for that is probably you could probably make a debate for either one, truthfully. I know that doesn't really answer your question, but that's a tough one to answer.
I know. I'm the same way, kind of going back and forth. The only, again, I don't know if this is a hot take, because I think like Dillon said, things go either way. The only way I could see maybe it leaning toward Layne is just to the point we talked about earlier with the fact that the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series field is so good with the top 12, really everybody in the chase, but even the top 10, I could see anybody going on a little bit of a run. Like Justin, yes, with the consistency, and he'll have the number 1 seed with the points going in. But with Layne, I think like if you just go head to head with Caden, you take Chandler out of it. Layne's been stronger than Caden on a regular basis. Like Caden, it's like we either win or we're struggling, or we're wrecking to try to find a way to win. And I feel like when you look at just the strength of the field, Layne has a little bit of an advantage on a championship because he is racing maybe 3 trucks versus maybe 8 or 9 cars in the O'Reilly series. But again, that's like, I mean, a paper thin margin. But to Dillon's point, I think consistency though wise, Justin Allgaier is that guy. And when you look at the racetracks that are in the chase, all of them pretty much tip to Justin's scale. I mean, he's strong everywhere, but like it's a really good chase for him. So yeah, I mean, flip a coin, but I'll just go out on a limb and say I think maybe Layne has a better shot just for the fact of the strength of the field in the chase.
Well put.
Yeah, I think it's not. I think it's, for me, it's pretty easy to say Layne Riggs. I just think that he has had a stranglehold on the field for the most part all year. They've just been so fast everywhere. Pretty dominant, in fact. Where Justin has been dominant too, but he's had a year kind of like Denny, right? Like he's the vet. Like he just hasn't made very many mistakes. Like they just have hit on whatever he needs, and he knows what he wants out of his race car. He's racing against guys that haven't been in the series as long and don't have as many laps. And I think their youthfulness probably hurts them in a long form season like you guys were just talking about. But with this reset, I think the reset hurts Justin more than it hurts Layne. I think that's kind of what we're all kind of saying is like Justin is a long form type of guy. I do think the other thing is, Davey, is Justin is racing for something different than everyone else. Justin is racing to get into the Hall of Fame. He wins this championship. I think I'm not saying first ballot Hall of Famer. I just think he's a no doubt Hall of Famer. If he wins the championship, that means he's got 2, and he's already 6th. I think it's clearly he's 6th in the all-times win list. If you look at that wins list, he is the only, now obviously he ran Cup for a little bit, but he's the only guy that wasn't like a Cup regular star, quote unquote, that he's the highest regular of O'Reilly's on the all-times win list. That's got to count for something. And I think if he wins another championship, it's going to be hard to keep him out of the Hall of Fame.
Hard to disagree with that. All right, let's wrap here with, I want to get your guys' predictions on who makes it and who misses it for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series this weekend. Again, Daytona International Speedway this weekend, the Chase Cutoff race, the end of the quote-unquote regular season. Parker Retzlaff in 9th, 46 to the good. Sam Mayer in 10th, 19 to the good. I think by all means, Parker's going to be okay. Even if he doesn't get stage points, he'll probably finish well enough to get in. That is, unless he wrecks out early. So we'll see. But in terms of Mayer, 19 up. Sawalich, Cruz, 1 point up. Gray, 1 point below. And then Rajah Caruth, 15 points back. Mr. Wilner, who makes it in and who gets left behind?
I'm so glad you went to him first.
Yeah, I was kind of like clinching, like, please don't go to me first.
Just keep vamping.
I mean, yeah, to your point, Parker, I think, is solid, albeit an early crash. And again, we'll have to wait and see starting lineups and where everything is at when we get to the weekend. I have a weird gut feeling about Taylor Gray missing it. I feel like sometimes in pressure-packed situations, there's a mistake, whether it is by himself, by just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, getting swept up in something, a pit road mistake. I have a weird feeling that Taylor will be sitting where he is now, being the first guy on the outside. Now, I hope he doesn't watch this because he's going to hate me for saying that. But, like, I'll go out on a limb and say that's going to happen. I think the best opportunity for somebody to make it just based on speed, and it goes back to what Dillon was talking about with the engine package, is Sam Mayer. I think he's going to be in, but that battle for that last spot, man, I think it goes back to what we were talking about with the help of JRM. I think Raja points his way in, and that knocks Brent Cruz out. And so that's kind of where I'm at. So I think the ones I guess I'm going to have in are Parker Retzlaff, Sam Mayer, William Sawalich, and Raja. I'm going
Mamba, what about you?
It is.
I know you got Raja.
Yeah, well, so I do, because I think Raj is going to win this weekend. Like, I think he's in the best position to do so, right? His other teammates are already in. Like, whoever's in the 9 is whatever's going on with there, right? So everyone's going to be helping the 88, and he can just run hard because he has nothing to lose. If he finishes behind all these other guys, he's not making it anyway. So he might as well try to get up front, control the field. You got Dale Jr. in your ear. I feel like Dale's always been an aggressor. He talks about that. He'd rather be up front.
Get on up there. Come on, man.
They just come on. I think they'd just rather run it from the front, which puts the JGR guys in a little bit of a pickle. And but the one that's the most interesting is Parker, because if I'm Parker, I'm almost on the opposite strategy. I'm just going to ride, make sure I don't wreck. If we wreck, I want to wreck within 10 laps. Like, if I wreck early, like, now I'm really pissed off. I'd rather wreck. If we're going to get into something, let's get into it at the very end of the race. So my guy out, I think Brent Cruz is going to be in. So I think Taylor, if Parker wrecks, I think he's out. But I think if not, then Taylor and Sawalich are out.
Dillon?
Yep, I have actually the same as Mamba. Parker and Sam, I think, are fine. Sawalich has been running a lot better. Like, I think he's finished top 5 the last 3 weeks, but he's kind of like Taylor Gray. Like, it just seems like they just get themselves in bad situations, and it's not intentional, obviously, but it's just like they'll be running great, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're in a crash. And Taylor's the same way. It's like they can put together a great day, and then it all comes unraveled for them. It seems like, more than anybody else in the field. So I'll agree with Mamba. I'll say Retzlaff, Mayer, Cruz, and Raja, because I do agree. I think Raj has the least to lose but the most to gain. And I think he's going to race that way. And I think he's going to have all the resources he needs to run up front and put himself in position to win that race. It's just going to be up to him. So that's who I'll go with.
I think mindset-wise, Raja is actually in the best spot. Parker, I think, will be good just because of his buffer and his gap. But Sam, 19 above, he does have a lot to lose. So how are you going to play that? Are you going to go for stage points and be aggressive and potentially get in somebody else's mess who also needs those stage points, like that JGR trio? Or do you want to play it safe, maybe not get stage points, but then make yourself more vulnerable for the final one? I don't know. Whereas on the flip side, Mamba, you nailed it. Raja, all he has to do is go. He doesn't need to worry about laying back, because if you finish behind them, you're going to finish behind them. That's it. So I think Raj actually has the easiest strategy and can probably go in with the best mindset, because he does not have much to lose and he's got a lot to gain. I went back and forth listening to you guys talk about which other guy I think is going to be out. I think Sam Mayer will be in along with Retzlaff. I was debating between Sawalich and Cruz, because in some ways Brent doesn't have as much super speedway experience, so I wonder how much that will hurt him, given that he missed one earlier this year, but he doesn't have as much as some of these other guys. But Taylor seems to find himself in the mess, whether it's his fault or not his fault. I feel like more than normal. My gut tells me Brent will be in, Taylor will be in, Raja will be in, Retzlaff will be in.
Okay, how many are in here?
4.
Hang
Four
on.
will be in. Retzlaff in. Mayer in. Raja in. Taylor Gray in. So I think Sawalich and Cruz
Gotcha.
go down. And again, it's 1 point.
Okay.
So yes, they would be going from in to out, but it's even for all intents and purposes.
So we're all in agreement that Raj is in with the two that are pretty safe with Parker and Sam, but we're all differing on which JGR driver is going to be in or out. I love it.
No doubt.
It's going to be a doozy. I can't wait to watch it all play out. You can watch it on the CW. You can listen to it on the Motor Racing Network and on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90. Shameless plug to 1, 2, 3 people on this call as well. Mamba, yes?
Wait, real quick. Mamba's NASCAR Sundays is doing a Friday watch party at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Free event to enter. So come on through. There's already been 200 and something RSVPs. So
sweet.
Whenever you see this, come on through. Come watch our friend Dillon on TV with us.
And you can listen. So, Mamba, is it NASCAR Fridays or is it still Sundays? What's the branding?
It's NASCAR Sundays on a Friday.
Okay.
And then we got NASCAR Sundays on a Saturday for Daytona at Hoppin'. So it's going to be fun weekend. Yep, fun weekend.
All right, so we all got a lot going on this weekend. It's going to be a lot to follow, a lot to listen to, a lot to watch, and good news for you. We will recap it all and be back here next week to talk about it. The trucks are off for a little bit. Their next race to start the chase will be at Bristol, but fear not because the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series will be fast and furious down the stretch to the chase to crown a champion, if I can speak. Anyways, this has been episode 1 of The Grand National. For Mamba Smith, Dillon Welch, and Chris Wilner, we will see you next time.